The moment I saw Robert slip that engagement ring onto my daughter's finger, something deep in my gut twisted. Mother's intuition, they call it. I should have listened. My name is Solstice, and I've spent 23 years protecting Emily, first as a single mother working double shifts at diners, then building our family bakery from scratch. Now I watch her twirl in front of the mirror in my shop's back room, showing off her ring while flour dust dances in the afternoon sunlight. Mom, can you believe it? In 6 months, I'll be Mrs. Erickson. Emily's eyes sparkle brighter than her diamond. I force a smile, piping roses onto a wedding consultation cake. It's happening so fast, sweetie. You've only known Robert for 8 months. When you know, she says, the same way she's been saying it since he proposed. Wait until you see the venue he picked. It's perfect. Perfect. That word follows Robert everywhere, along with his tailored suits and that practiced smile that never quite reaches his eyes. I've seen that smile too many times at our Sunday family dinners, watching him subtly correct Emily's table manners or make snide comments about our quaint little bakery. Speaking of the venue, Emily continues, Robert's coming by to discuss the deposit. He says we need to move quickly. Right on cue, the bell above the shop door chimes. Robert strides in, phone pressed to his ear. No, tell them we need those papers today. I don't care what it takes. He ends the call, kissing Emily's cheek. Sorry, darling. Work never ends. Robert, would you like some coffee? I offer, more out of habit than hospitality. Black, no sugar. He doesn't even look at me. Emily, we need to talk about the trust fund. Dad's lawyer mentioned. Robert! Emily interrupts, glancing nervously at me. He waves dismissively. Oh, please, your mother should know. After all, it's family money. He turns to me, finally. Did you know Emily's grandmother left her quite a substantial sum? Available upon marriage, of course. My piping bag freezes mid-rose. This is the first I'm hearing about any trust fund. It wasn't important, Emily mumbles, suddenly fascinated by her shoes. Not important? Robert laughs, but it sounds wrong, like glass breaking. Darling, it's your inheritance, our future. He checks his watch. We're late for the venue. Come on. Emily grabs her purse, avoiding my eyes. See you at home, Mom. I watch them leave through the front window, Robert's hand on the small of Emily's back, steering her toward his gleaming BMW. As they pull away, I hear Lucia, my longtime employee, behind me. You heard that, right? She asks quietly. I nod, my hands shaking slightly as I set down the piping bag. I need to make a call. 10 minutes later, I'm in the alley behind the shop, phone pressed to my ear. Felicity, it's me. Remember when you said your brother works at the county records office? I need a favor. I need to know everything about Robert Erickson, his father Carl, and a trust fund I just learned about. Something's very wrong here, and I'm not letting anyone hurt my daughter. The roses on my forgotten consultation cake are crooked now, bleeding red food coloring onto the pristine white fondant. Somehow, it feels appropriate. Girl, you're not gonna believe what my brother found. Felicity's voice crackles through my phone speaker as I pace the empty bakery after closing. These Ericksons, they're swimming in lawsuits. I press the phone closer to my ear, double-checking that I'm alone. Tell me everything. 3 different firms have filed complaints against Carl's law practice in the last 5 years, all settled out of court, all sealed. Felicity pauses, but here's where it gets interesting. Each time, large sums of money disappeared right before the settlements. We're talking millions. My hands shake as I sink into a chair. And Robert? Daddy's perfect little puppet. He's listed as a partner in several shell companies, the kind rich people use to hide money. She sighs. But that trust fund? It's real. Emily's grandmother left her $2.5 million. The number hits me like a physical blow. Why didn't she tell me? Maybe she didn't know the full amount. These trust documents are complicated, but there's something else. The marriage clause was added recently, like suspiciously recently. A timer dings in my kitchen, making me jump. I'd forgotten about the sourdough proving in the back. I have to go, I tell Felicity, but keep digging. I'm pulling bread from the oven when the front door chimes. We're closed, but I recognize Emily's key in the lock. Mom? She appears in the kitchen doorway, mascara smeared under her eyes. Can we talk? I set down the hot baking sheet. Always, baby. What's wrong? She collapses into a chair, twisting her engagement ring. Robert's been different lately. He keeps talking about the trust fund, about investing it in his father's firm. She looks up at me. He got angry when I suggested waiting. Angry how? My voice is carefully neutral, but my heart pounds. He said I was being childish, that I don't understand business. She wipes her eyes. Then he mentioned moving the wedding up. He's already called the venue to change dates. I grab another chair, sitting close enough to take her hands. Emily, honey, what do you want? I don't know anymore. Her voice breaks. Everything's moving so fast. The bell chimes again. Robert appears in the doorway, his perfect smile nowhere in sight. Emily, I've been calling you. His voice is tight. We have dinner with my father, remember? I stand up, positioning myself between them. She's upset, Robert. Maybe tonight isn't. With all due respect, he cuts me off. This is between me and my fiancé. He steps forward, reaching for Emily. Come on, darling. Dad's waiting. Emily rises slowly, avoiding my eyes again. As they leave, Robert turns back. Oh, and Solstice? I'd appreciate if you'd stop asking questions about my father's business. Some might consider it harassment. The threat in his voice is unmistakable. After they're gone, I call Felicity back. He knows we're looking, I tell her. We need to move faster. Already on it. My brother found something else. A former employee of Carl's who might talk. Someone who was there when the first lawsuit hit. I grab my keys, already heading for the door. Text me the address. It's time to stop playing defense. The street outside is dark, but for the first time since this started, I see my path clearly. Robert picked the wrong mother to threaten. The coffee shop is nearly empty when Robert walks in, right on schedule. I've been watching him long enough to know he gets his morning coffee here, every day at 8:15, always alone. Solstice? He stops short, surprise flickering across his face before that practiced smile returns. What a coincidence. Is it? I gesture to the chair across from me. Sit down, Robert. We need to talk about the Anderson development case. The smile vanishes. I don't know what you're talking about. 3 years ago, your father's firm handled a real estate development deal. Millions disappeared, but one paralegal kept copies of everything. I slide a manila envelope across the table, including transfer records with your signature. His hand trembles slightly as he reaches for the envelope. Where did you get these? Let's just say some people have long memories and guilty consciences. I lean forward, call off the engagement. Robert's laugh is hollow. Or what? You'll go to the police? He opens the envelope, scanning the contents. These documents aren't admissible in court. They were obtained illegally. Maybe, but Emily's trust fund paperwork? That's completely legitimate, including the recent changes your father pushed through. You're out of your depth. He leans back, crossing his arms. Do you really think anyone would believe you over my father? He's one of the most respected lawyers in the state. I don't need them to believe me. I just need Emily to see the truth. About that, his smile returns, colder than ever. Emily signed the papers this morning. The trust fund transfers to a joint account upon marriage. Our marriage date has been moved up to next month. My blood runs cold. She wouldn't. She did, because she loves me. He stands up, straightening his tie. Face it, Solstice, you lost, but I'll make you a deal. Back off, and I'll make sure you keep your little bakery after we're married. Emily would want that. You really think this is about money? Everything is about money. He tucks the envelope under his arm. Thanks for these. I'll have our lawyers look them over. Oh, and if any of this leaks to the press? He leans down, voice dropping. Emily's name will be dragged through the mud right alongside ours. Think about that before you make your next move. He walks out, leaving me with a cold coffee and colder reality. My phone buzzes. A text from Felicity. Got more docs. Big stuff. Call me ASAP. I dial her number, hands shaking. Tell me you found something we can use. Better. Found someone willing to talk on record. Carl's former secretary. She handled all the trust fund paperwork personally. Hope flares in my chest. Where is she? That's the thing. She's scared. Says she'll only meet in public with witnesses. An idea forms as I look around the coffee shop. The morning rush will start soon. People with phones, social media, witnesses. Tell her to meet me here tomorrow morning at 8:15. And Felicity, call that reporter friend of yours, the one who covered the banking scandal last year. Solstice, what are you planning? I watch Robert's retreating figure through the window, thinking of Emily's tear-stained face in my kitchen. Sometimes you have to fight fire with fire. And tomorrow? I smile grimly. Tomorrow we're lighting a match. Mom, what's going on? Emily stands in our kitchen, staring at the stack of documents I've laid out on the table. Why do you have all this? Sit down, baby. I push a mug of tea toward her. There's something you need to see. She sinks into a chair, picking up the first document. Her eyes widen. This is my trust fund paperwork, but it's different from what Robert showed me. That's because these are the originals. I point to the date. See when the marriage clause was added? 2 months after I met Robert. She flips through more pages, color draining from her face. And these bank transfers? Your future father-in-law has been busy. I keep my voice gentle. Emily, they're trying to get control of your inheritance. The front door opens, and Lucia hurries in. They're here, both of them. Right on cue, Robert and Carl burst into the kitchen. Carl's expensive suit can't hide his rage. Emily, don't listen to another word. Robert reaches for her, but she pulls away. Your mother's trying to manipulate you. The only manipulation here is yours. I stand up, matching Carl's glare. Tell her the truth. Tell her about Anderson Development. You have no idea what you're dealing with. Carl snarls. Emily, whatever she's told you, I can read. Emily cuts him off, holding up the papers. Did you really think I wouldn't figure it out? The rushed wedding, the constant pressure about the trust fund. Robert's face darkens. Everything I did was for us. No. Emily's voice shakes but holds firm. Everything you did was for you. Think carefully about your next move. Carl steps forward. One phone call and your mother's bakery is fully paid off and legally mine. I smile. I had my lawyer check everything. Twice. Your lawyer? Robert laughs. Some small time? The kitchen door swings open again. A woman in a sharp business suit walks in, followed by Felicity. Actually, the woman says, that would be me, Margaret Walsh, District Attorney's Office. She sets her briefcase on the table. Mr. Erickson, we've been looking into your firm's handling of trust funds. Your former secretary has been quite helpful. Carl's face goes from red to white. Margaret, surely we can— Not this time, Carl. She turns to Emily. Ms. Marshall, would you be willing to make a statement about the recent changes to your trust? Emily looks at Robert, then at me. I see the moment her decision crystallizes. Yes, she says, slipping off her engagement ring. I have a lot to say. This isn't over, Robert hisses as Margaret leads them out. You're right, I call after him. The DA's office is just the beginning. After they're gone, Emily collapses into my arms, sobbing. Mom, I'm so sorry. I should have listened. Hey, I stroke her hair like I did when she was small. You did listen. When it mattered most, you listened to your heart. Lucia appears with fresh tea. The morning rush starts in an hour. Should I call in extra help? No. Emily wipes her eyes, straightening. I'll help. I need to keep busy. I watch my daughter tie on an apron, her movements determined despite her tears. The engagement ring lies abandoned on the table, but Emily's standing taller than she has in months. My phone buzzes. A text from Margaret. Meeting tomorrow, bringing federal investigators. This goes deeper than we thought. I look at Emily, now showing Lucia how to pipe roses just like I taught her. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together. The DA's office feels colder than my walk-in freezer. Margaret spreads documents across her desk while I try not to fidget in the uncomfortable chair. Carl's been busy, she says, tapping a stack of papers. We've found similar trust fund manipulations going back 15 years. Always the same pattern. Young women from wealthy families, rushed marriages, transferred assets. Robert was just following Daddy's playbook, I mutter. A knock interrupts us. A man in an FBI windbreaker enters, laptop in hand. You need to see this. Carl just made a large wire transfer. Margaret's eyes narrow. How large? 2 million to an offshore account. He's running, I realize. We need to. My phone rings. Emily's ringtone. Baby, what's wrong? Robert's here. Her voice is hushed, scared. At the bakery, he's demanding to talk to me. I'm already standing. Is Lucia with you? Yes, but Mom, he's different. Angry. He keeps saying we ruined everything. Margaret signals her team. We're on our way. Emily, stay on the line with your mother. The drive to the bakery takes forever, even with police escorts. Emily's voice stays quiet in my ear, describing Robert's increasingly erratic behavior. He's throwing things now, she whispers. Lucia tried to call the police, but he took her phone. We're almost there, baby. Just stay hidden. We screech to a halt outside the bakery. Through the window, I can see Robert pacing, his perfect appearance disheveled. Display cases lie shattered, cakes and pastries strewn across the floor. FBI, open up! Robert spins around, face contorted. Stay back. I need to talk to Emily. I push past the agents, ignoring their protests. Let me in. He won't hurt me. Margaret grabs my arm. You don't know that. He's not his father. He's just a scared little boy who finally got caught. I pull free. Let me try. The bell chimes as I enter. Robert whirls to face me, clutching what looks like wedding invitations. Where is she? Safe from you. I step carefully over broken glass. It's over, Robert. Your father's running. Don't make this worse. Worse? He laughs wildly. Do you know what you've done? Everything we built, everything we planned? You mean everything you stole. I move closer. How many other women before Emily? How many families did you and your father destroy? We gave them what they wanted, love, security. You gave them lies. Emily's voice rings out. She emerges from the kitchen, Lucia beside her. And I almost fell for them. Robert lunges toward her, but I'm faster. My hand closes around a rolling pin on a nearby counter. One swift movement, and he crashes into a display case, clutching his shoulder. FBI agents swarm in, cuffing him as he shouts threats and promises. Margaret appears at my side. Carl's been apprehended at the airport, she says. Found him with fake passports and evidence of at least 12 other cases. I barely hear her. Emily's in my arms, shaking but unhurt. Around us, our bakery lies in ruins. but all I can think is how close we came to losing something far more precious. Mom? Emily pulls back, surveying the damage. What do we do now? I look at our destroyed shop, then at my daughter's determined face. We rebuild, starting with those wedding cakes that just got ruined. We've got promises to keep. To real brides this time, she says, managing a small smile. Real brides, real love, real family. Sometimes you have to wade through broken glass to protect what matters most. Are you sure you want to do this? I ask Emily as we stand outside the courthouse. You don't have to testify. She squares her shoulders, smoothing her blazer. I do. For all the other women they hurt. Inside, the courtroom buzzes with tension. Reporters fill the back rows. Carl and Robert's arrest made national news when the full scope of their scheme emerged. 12 families, millions stolen, lives shattered. Robert sits at the defense table, his designer suit replaced by something off the rack. He doesn't look our way. Carl, beside him, stares straight ahead, jaw clenched. All rise. The preliminary hearing begins. Margaret presents evidence methodically, bank records, altered documents, testimony from previous victims. Then she calls Emily. Please state your name for the record. Emily's voice stays steady. Emily Marshall. Can you tell us how you met Robert Erickson? At a charity gala. He was charming, attentive. She pauses. Now I know he targeted me because of my trust fund. Robert's attorney stands. Objection. Speculation. Overruled. Continue, Ms. Marshall. Emily describes everything. The rushed engagement, the pressure about the trust fund, the altered documents. With each word, she sits taller, stronger. And what made you finally suspect something was wrong? My mother. Emily looks at me in the gallery. She saw what I couldn't or wouldn't. The defense attorney's cross-examination turns brutal. Isn't it true you willingly signed the trust fund papers under false pretenses? Yes or no? Yes, but... And isn't it true you told Robert you loved him, that you wanted to marry him? Emily's voice hardens. I loved who I thought he was, not who he really is. No further questions. As Emily steps down, Robert suddenly stands. This is ridiculous. Emily, tell them the truth. Tell them about our plans, our future. Sit down, his attorney hisses. But Robert's mask has finally cracked. You ungrateful bitch. After everything we could have had? Order! The judge bangs her gavel. Mr. Erickson, control yourself or... It was all for you, Robert shouts at Emily. Dad, tell them. Tell them about the others, how they all benefited. Carl's face goes ashen. His attorney jumps up. Your Honor, we request a recess. The others? Margaret pounces. What others, Mr. Erickson? Robert realizes his mistake too late. Carl slumps in his chair as his son inadvertently confesses to more victims than we'd known about. The judge calls a recess amid the chaos. In the hallway, Margaret approaches us, grinning. That outburst was better than a signed confession. Their lawyers are already talking plea deals. Emily leans against me, exhausted but triumphant. Is it really over? Almost. I hug her close. You did good, baby. Felicity appears with coffee and pastries from our newly repaired bakery. Here, you both need sugar after that performance. Thanks. Emily bites into a croissant. You know what? These taste better than ever. Because they're made with love, not lies, Lucia says, joining us. And speaking of the bakery, we've got 3 wedding cake consultations tomorrow. Emily straightens. I'll handle them. Time to help create some real love stories. I watch my daughter chatting with Lucia about cake designs, her face animated, her smile genuine. The courthouse bustles around us, but in this moment, all I see is Emily, free, strong, and finally truly herself. Sometimes the sweetest victories come after the bitterest battles. Breaking news: prominent attorney Carl Erickson and his son Robert plead guilty in multi-million-dollar trust fund scheme. I turn off the TV as reporters crowd outside our bakery. They've been circling for days since the plea deal was announced. They're like vultures, Lucia mutters, flipping the closed sign. At least they're buying our pastries while they wait. The bell chimes despite the sign. Margaret strides in, clutching a folder. Good news, the judge accepted all the plea deals. Carl's getting 15 years, Robert 8. Emily emerges from the kitchen, flour on her cheek. And the money? Being returned to all identified victims. Margaret smiles. Your grandmother's trust fund is safe, by the way. We caught them before they could touch it. The front door chimes again. A young woman enters, nervous but determined. I'm sorry. I know you're closed, but I saw the news about the Ericksons. You're one of them, aren't you? I ask gently. One of the other women? She nods, tears welling. Amanda, 3 years ago. I lost everything. Emily pulls out a chair. Sit, I'll make tea. As Amanda tells her story, more women arrive, each one carrying the same wounded look Emily had worn, each one seeking something, understanding, closure, family. We should do something, Emily whispers to me as the impromptu support group grows. Help them heal. An idea strikes. Margaret, that recovered money, how long until they receive it? A few weeks. Why? I survey our bakery, the warm lights, the sweet aromas, the women sharing their stories over tea and pastries. What if we help them start over? Small business loans, mentorship programs, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, Lucia adds. But with more sugar. Emily's eyes light up. We could call it the Phoenix Foundation. Help other women build their dreams, like we built ours. Amanda overhears us. You do that? Help strangers? We're not strangers anymore, Emily says firmly. We're survivors. The next few hours blur as plans take shape. Margaret makes calls to victim advocacy groups. Felicity arrives with her laptop, creating spreadsheets and contact lists. The women share ideas, hopes, dreams long buried under shame and fear. Mom? Emily pulls me aside as evening falls. Thank you for everything. I just did what any mother would do. No. She hugs me tight. You showed me how to be strong, how to rise above, how to help others rise too. A reporter taps on our window, gesturing with her camera. But for once, I don't mind the attention. Let them see this. Women supporting women, strength growing from pain, sweet rising from bitter. My phone buzzes with a text from the prison liaison. Robert requesting meeting. Says he has information about more victims. I show it to Emily. She reads it, then straightens her spine, just like she did in court. We should go, she says. Not for him, for them. I look around our bakery, now filled with women planning their futures, sharing their stories, healing their pasts. Robert and Carl thought they were destroying lives. Instead, they created an unshakable bond between their victims. Tomorrow, I tell Emily. Tonight, we celebrate new beginnings. She nods, already heading to the kitchen. I'll get the champagne. And Mom, I'm thinking of making a new cake flavor. Oh? Phoenix Rising, orange and dark chocolate, sweet with a bite. Just like us, I think. Just like all of us. The prison visiting room smells like cheap coffee and regret. Robert sits across from Emily and me, orange jumpsuit hanging loose on his frame. He's lost that polished shine, that practiced charm. More names, he says, sliding a paper across the table. Women I targeted, before Emily. Emily takes the list with steady hands. Why now? Because you won. His laugh is hollow. Dad's writing his memoirs in maximum security. Our assets are frozen, and I'm here. Might as well do something right for once. This doesn't make up for anything, I say. I know. He stares at his hands. But maybe it helps them. We leave him there, taking his list to Margaret. Outside, Emily breathes deeply. Ready for the foundation launch? After dealing with him? Absolutely. The Phoenix Foundation's opening ceremony fills our bakery with light and hope. Amanda stands at the podium, describing her new catering business. Other women share their stories: a boutique owner, a graphic designer, a coffee shop entrepreneur, all rising from the ashes of what Robert and Carl destroyed. And now, Emily addresses the crowd, I'd like to introduce our signature cake. She wheels out a towering creation, orange and dark chocolate layers swirled with gold leaf, the Phoenix Rising cake that's already gone viral on social media. Each layer represents strength, she explains, the bitter and the sweet together, creating something beautiful. Felicity appears at my side. Reporter from the Times wants a statement about Robert's new victims list. Tell her to talk to Margaret. I watch Emily cutting the cake, serving it to women who've become family. We're focused on healing now, not hurting. Speaking of healing, Lucia points to the door. A young woman enters hesitantly. She's wearing designer clothes that remind me of Robert's style. Can I help you? I ask. I'm Sophie. She twists her engagement ring. My fiancé. Something feels wrong. I saw your story on the news, and Emily overhears, immediately wrapping an arm around Sophie's shoulders. Come sit, have some cake, tell us everything. I watch my daughter lead Sophie to a table of survivors, already reaching out with understanding and support. The bitter and the sweet, just like her cake, just like life. My phone buzzes. Another text from Robert. Thank you for stopping us, for saving them. I delete it without responding. His gratitude means nothing compared to the strength in this room, the power of women lifting each other up. Mom, Emily calls. Sophie needs help planning her escape, like we planned mine. I join them, pulling up a chair. Sophie's tears have already dried, replaced by determination as Emily and Amanda share their experiences, their victories. Outside, the sun sets on our little bakery. Through the window, I see our new sign, Phoenix Rising Bakery and Foundation, where sweet dreams take flight. Inside, women laugh and cry and plan their futures over slices of orange chocolate cake. Emily catches my eye across the room, her smile radiant and real. No more masks, no more pretense, just truth and strength and the kind of love that builds rather than breaks. Ready to save another one? She asks as Sophie begins to hope again. Always, I tell my daughter, my partner, my Phoenix, always. Because sometimes the sweetest revenge isn't revenge at all. It's rising above, helping others rise, and making something beautiful from the bitter ashes of what was lost.